my kids don't go to the doctors. We don't go to the doctor. My kids aren't sick. And so I know that's health. Like I can raise my hand and say, I'm healthy because I do those things. And I don't do it because I have to show it for you. I don't do it because I have to show it for him. I do it because self-care for me is so important to who I am outside of any circle, outside of my husband, outside of my children. And I think some of you saw, I put up the thing that it's like less than 5% of your life to give yourself 1 hour. And that 1 hour is maybe just going for a walk. Maybe it's meditation, maybe it's yoga, whatever. It doesn't have to be kill yourself in the gym, but it has to be something that you're willing to do. And less than 5% of your entire life, if you can't give that to yourself, then it's up here. You know, then you're not being truthful, you're not being vulnerable, and you're really setting yourself up for the health crisis later on. Because there is a health crisis. Our nation is filled with diabetes and cancer, and a lot of people in this room have been affected by cancer, I'm certain of, and their families, and 90% is from environment. I mean, we can't negate science. We can't negate the fact that we have to live healthier. We have to teach our children, the next generation. We have to look at the foods that the FDA approves that are not supposed to be on our shelves that we didn't even know about, you know, like Cheerios. Everyone thought Cheerios were freaking healthy for their kids. They fed Cheerios. I ate Cheerios. I even get my first kid Cheerios. And now I'm like, oh, Cheerios, don't feed my kid Cheerios. And I was like, why not, you know? But I know the truth about Cheerios now. And so they're filled with stuff, and they can say that they're like heart healthy and those things, but they're not. And so I think that's the other thing is you have to look at heart patterns in your life of like, I know these things and I don't walk by them. So what are you still walking by? Like, what are you still walking by in your life that you know you shouldn't be doing? Because that's a discussion you have to have with your heart, with your soul, with yourself, and say, what am I still walking by that I could be giving myself health and benefit to extend the time I have here? Because that's the crux of it all is, you know, a lot of people in your circles, they'll think you're weird for fasting. They'll think you're weird for eating whole foods and organic foods or being more plant-based. Let them judge, because it's the same thing. It's that being vulnerable, and they'll soon figure it out for themselves, or they won't. And it's just a scarier place than I ever imagined it would be. And the more I know, the scarier it gets. Like my husband's like, we're going to live in a yurt someday. I'm like, probably. You know, and he's like, we'll have all our own food and all this stuff. I'm like, probably. And so, because he's always like makes a joke. It's like, is it on the list? I'm like, it's on the list.
Yeah.
And so
tell us stuff about that. It's got GMO in it.
Yeah,
Oh,
but you know, it's,
why do you think we're 70? We have the preservatives.
Yes. That's why we look this good.
That's
right?
why.
So I'm going to give a little time if any of you guys want to share or want to share out like some of your tribe members or be watching. They're up there. I know they wanted to be here, and some people that you work with. And you don't have to share, but you know, if you have something on your heart, or you want to say, you know, like I need to do better here or there, or if you're not being authentic in your circles, then you're really caging yourself. You're like in the zoo, caged in. Then you need to find new circles, and you can do it kindly. But some of your circles aren't the best influence for you, and some people close to you aren't the best influence. And having discussions with them and letting them know that is really important, because I have the benefit of, I do, you know, my husband and I talked about today when we were walking the trails, is like, if I was starting to just like mow down on like Burger King and stuff, he'd be like, what are you doing? Like, he would stop me in a kind manner and have that discussion. But some of us don't have those partners, or are solo doing this, or have extra stress in our life. But there's still things that we can do every day that chain together to be authentic, to be vulnerable, to provide health for ourselves, because there's nothing more important than this body you're in and this time you have and the people you love. And if you love the people, my newsletter that comes out on Friday is pretty harsh, because it talks about this. You know, if you're saying you'll die for people, but you're killing yourself right next to them, then what does that make you? Like, that's what I always look at. I look at my kids' eyes, I look at my parents' eyes, I look at my friends' eyes, and I think like making those little decisions are far more important than than living this life of just like basically slowly mutating myself, because we are built with genes, but there's epigenetics, and that means we can turn off those bad genes. So it's always really like I try not to laugh, but when people are like, well, my father had high blood pressure, so I just got to have high blood pressure. You don't. Like, it doesn't work that way. It's like that's just an excuse to stay in your pattern instead of break out of your pattern, because your genes